And I was like 42 years old when I discovered my gender identity. Was not clear on exactly what is a transgender person. What does it mean to be trans? So I didn't have a path, an outlet to question my gender identity because I didn't know you could question it. I grew up in the 80s as a young boy who liked girls. And the cute girls caught my fancy, so I didn't have a reason to question my gender identity. I thought I was a boy. Boyhood leads into manhood, and you better be a good boy, and then you better step up and be a good man. I just felt like I wasn't performing life correctly. I felt like I just didn't know how to do it right, to feel comfortable being a man, to be comfortable being a boy when I was a kid. I wasn't comfortable doing that. I wasn't happy. I wasn't me. Hello, hello, and thank you for joining me. This is a trans moment with Brandi Beckett. Hi. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Brandi Beckett. I am a 51-year-old transgender activist and a dynamic public speaker. And what is a trans moment, Brandi? Well, on this channel, we look at topical and historical events that happen to transgender people and historical and current events that are affecting transgender lives and transgender people. We are looking at what is it like to be a trans person in the 21st century in the United States. When I was a kid growing up, I didn't know what a transgender person was. I didn't even know that term transgender when I was a small child. I had no idea. I grew up in the 1980s, and our social lens of transgender people in the 1980s was not focused very well and was not clear on exactly what is a transgender person. What does it mean to be trans? There wasn't any clear path to say, hey, look inside yourself and you discover that you do not fit into this gender assigned box that was assigned to you at birth. I discovered my gender identity when I was in my 40s. Now I'm 51 years old right now, and I was like 42 years old when I discovered my gender identity. I mean, literally the first time I ever questioned my gender identity, I was 42 years old. I didn't know to question my gender identity. I didn't know you could question your gender identity. I was raised in the 80s and during a time when our society just associated your sexual orientation with your gender identity and your gender expression. We just kind of all yoked that together, and no one really questioned it. At least no one around me. I didn't question it. I grew up in the 80s as a young boy who liked girls. So that's what I knew. I knew when I was a kid, I knew that I was attracted towards femininity. I wasn't, attracted to other boys when I was a kid. I was attracted to girls. I was infatuated with girls when I was a little kid. So I was assigned a boy when I was a kid. At birth, I was assigned boy. And growing up, I liked girls. So I didn't have a path, an outlet to question my gender identity because I didn't know you could question it. I didn't know I should question my gender identity. I just knew I, I didn't I didn't make a really good boy. I didn't feel like I was a model kid. I didn't feel like I was comfortable being a boy. I didn't feel comfortable in my own skin. And that was most of my childhood. Most of my childhood, I was not comfortable in my skin. I, w- I didn't know why. I didn't know why I felt so uncomfortable trying to live up to this role that I was assigned. I was assigned a boy. I was assigned a boy in the United States in the 1980s, growing up in Southern California. I was socialized around other boys. I had older brother and a younger brother growing up, and they always had their friends around too. So it was always like a house full of boys that I was just engulfed with. I woke up in the morning, there was nothing but boy stuff around. There was no girl stuff in my house. My mom was there, but my mom, my whole life, wore jeans and a t-shirt and hardly wore makeup and didn't wear like high heels and stuff. My mom wore tennis shoes, jeans, and a t-shirt. And she was an awesome mom. But I didn't have girly stuff, as we say, growing up around me. It wasn't there. Um, I grew up in a world of sports and roughhousing and wrestling in the house. Uh, That's what my childhood was. We used to play neighborhood games with all the other boys, be like 15 boys on one side and 15 boys on the other side, and we would play keep away from each other. We would we would play like war games across the blocks. One group would go hide on Sunset Street, and the other block had Sunrise Street, and try to capture each other, like kind of like capture the flag. We used to play that. We used to play baseball, basketball. I was a pretty good athlete when I was a kid. My brothers were pretty good athletes. My elder brother was he was one of the top wrestlers in California when he was in high school, and I was stepping in that shadow, and I was a really good wrestler as well. I didn't do well on the high school team because I didn't do well in school. I could not make grades to play on the baseball high school team or the high school wrestling team. But all the way up until high school, I wrestled, I played basketball, I played baseball, I ran track. I did a lot of sports activities, from boxing to wrestling, football, soccer, baseball, running track. I did all the sports when I was a kid growing up in Southern California. I even tried skating. Wasn't very good at skating. But I grew up in Southern California, and I grew up in this culture of boys being outside and roughhousing and playing sports, and that's what you're supposed to be. And I was pretty good at sports. I'm pretty fast. I can run fast. I have fast reactions. I could catch the ball. I could throw the ball. So I thought I was fitting in as one of the boys. So I wouldn't question my gender identity. And I and the cute girls caught my fancy, so I didn't have a reason to question my gender identity. I thought I was a boy. I met the criteria that we told ourselves back in the 80s, that the criteria to be a boy is you have a dangly thing between your legs. You like girls, therefore you're a boy, and you're supposed to follow this path we're going to lead out to, because boyhood leads into manhood, and you better be a good boy, and then you better step up and be a good man. I was never comfortable in my skin. Not as a boy. Definitely not as a man. I tried. I tried and I tried and I tried. I tried to step into that role, that manhood role. It always felt like I was forming something that wasn't me. But I didn't know that. I just felt like I wasn't performing life correctly. Felt like I just didn't know how to do it right, to feel comfortable being a man, to be comfortable being a boy when I was a kid. I wasn't comfortable doing that. I wasn't happy. I wasn't me. Not until I was 42 years old. I questioned my gender identity. I looked inside myself, and for the first time in my life, I asked myself the question, what is your gender identity? And what does that look like if you express it? Wow. That stunned me. That rocked my world, that question, because when I looked inside, I thought it should have been an easy question, right? If you're a cis person, ask yourself that question. It's easy to answer. Look inside yourself and ask yourself, are you that assignment that was given to you? Do you feel comfortable in that assignment? Is that you? Is that assignment you? And does it feel good to express that? Cis people, yeah, no worries. They look inside, yeah, that's them. They express it. Boom, that's them. They're a cis person. And most people are cis hetero people. So typically most people are cis and hetero. And when I looked inside myself, it wasn't masculine. It wasn't that assignment. But it was an amazing person that I started to tap into. And when I really started to absorb and say, yes, this is me. And I want to pull it out and I want to show the world. Expressing my gender identity, it is glorious. It feels as if for the first time in my life, I found comfort in this skin. I felt comfort in being me. It felt right to be me, to express that, to express this powerful femininity that is boiling within me, to bring that out, to show the world this is me. I am woman, and hear me roar. It makes so much sense to me now, because I looked inside and I found that woman. And it saddened me that I stifled that woman for so many decades. I didn't know how to look in and address her. I didn't know how to find her. I didn't know to look for her. But I did one day. I'm so grateful that I looked inside myself to find who I am. And then I have the courage to express it, to express who I am. I want everyone to have that ability to express who they are. The privilege, the fortune that I have to express who I am. I feel very privileged and very fortunate to be able to do that because not everyone can express who they are. Plenty of people discover who they are and society tells them, do not express that. Don't you dare express that, is the message that society is trying to oppress onto us. But I'm here to tell you, yes, Express who you are. Find that beautiful person inside of you and express them. The world needs more beautiful expressions of amazing people. Don't let harsh individuals and misinformed masses dictate how you express who you are. Be you. Be that true person you are and express it. And be proud of who you are. It's still June. It's Pride Month, and I'm proud that I express who I am. I'm proud to share the joys of expressing my gender identity. I'm proud that I am able to express that. I'm proud that people came before me, fought hard, so I can express who I am, at least to the degree that I can in 2024 in the United States. So, yes. I'm going to leave you with this message of encouragement. Love yourself, but more importantly, like yourself and treat people the way they want to be treated. Bye-bye for now.